Finland's political landscape is changing. The June 2024 European Parliament elections revealed a notable shift to the left. This trend is part of a broader pattern in the Nordic region, where red-green parties are gaining traction. These parties blend environmentalism with left-wing economic policies. They offer a clear alternative to traditional social democratic parties. The Finnish Left Alliance, led by Li Andersson, exemplified this trend. They secured a historic victory in the elections. This success signals a potential turning point in Finnish politics. The Left Alliance's success can be attributed to several factors. Their campaign focused on key issues resonating with voters. These included workers' rights, social justice, and a nuanced approach to international relations. The party strongly criticized attacks on immigrants. They advocated for a more humane and just society. The Left Alliance positioned itself as a champion of the working class. It appealed to those disillusioned by the current right-wing government's policies. The rise of the Left Alliance stands in stark contrast to the declining support for the far-right Finns party. This party, once a major force in Finnish politics, has seen its popularity dwindle. Their vote share plummeted in the recent elections. This decline can be attributed to several factors, including internal divisions and a perceived lack of concrete solutions to pressing societal issues. The Finns party's fall from grace reflects a broader trend across Europe. Right-wing populist parties are facing challenges. Voters are increasingly skeptical of their rhetoric. The shift in Finland's political landscape is significant. It reflects a growing desire for change. Voters are looking for alternatives to the status quo. The Left Alliance, with its progressive platform and charismatic leadership, is well positioned to capitalize on this sentiment. Their success in the European Parliament elections is a testament to their growing appeal. It remains to be seen how this will translate into the next national elections. However, one thing is clear: the political winds in Finland are changing. Li Andersson, the former leader of the Left Alliance, has played a pivotal role in the party's recent success. Her charisma, sharp intellect, and unwavering commitment to social justice have resonated with voters. Andersson's leadership has been characterized by a blend of pragmatism and principle. She is not afraid to take a stand on controversial issues. Her outspoken criticism of Israel's policies towards Palestinians, for example, has garnered both praise and condemnation. Despite the controversy, Andersson's leadership has been widely praised, even by those who disagree with her politics. She is seen as a competent and articulate politician who is not afraid to challenge the status quo. Andersson's ability to connect with voters from all walks of life has been crucial to the Left Alliance's success. Her departure to the European Parliament has left a void in Finnish politics. However, the party remains committed to her vision. They aim to build on her legacy. The Left Alliance's success is not solely attributable to Andersson's leadership. However, her influence is undeniable. She has helped to modernize the party's image. She has broadened its appeal beyond its traditional base. Andersson's ability to articulate a clear and compelling vision for a more just and equitable society has resonated with voters. This has contributed to the Left Alliance's growing momentum. The future of the Left Alliance remains to be seen. However, the party is well positioned to capitalize on the current political climate. With a strong base of support and a clear commitment to social justice, the Left Alliance is poised to play a significant role in shaping Finland's future. Their ability to address the concerns of ordinary citizens will be crucial to their continued success. The party must navigate the complexities of Finnish politics while remaining true to its core values. In contrast to the Left Alliance's surge, the far-right Finns party has experienced a significant decline in support. This downturn reflects a broader trend across Europe. Right-wing populist parties, once ascendant, are now facing headwinds. Their simplistic solutions to complex problems are increasingly being rejected by voters. The Finns party's fall from grace highlights the fickle nature of populist movements. Several factors have contributed to the Finns party's decline. Their time in government was marked by austerity measures and cuts to social programs. These policies alienated many of their working-class supporters. Additionally, internal divisions and a lack of clear leadership have plagued the party. They have struggled to present a cohesive vision for Finland's future. The Finns party's decline is a reminder that populist movements are often fleeting. Their success is often contingent upon specific circumstances, such as economic anxiety or social unrest. When these conditions change, so too can the fortunes of populist parties. The Finns party's fall from grace serves as a cautionary tale for other right-wing populist movements across Europe. The decline of the Finns party does not necessarily signal the end of right-wing populism in Finland. However, it does suggest that voters are becoming more discerning. They are less likely to be swayed by simplistic slogans and empty promises. The future of Finnish politics will likely be shaped by a more nuanced and pragmatic approach to governance. Finland, despite its reputation for social welfare and equality, is grappling with the consequences of austerity measures implemented by the current right-wing government. Led by Petteri Orpo of the National Coalition Party, this coalition, which includes the Finns Party, Swedish People's Party, and Christian Democrats, has pursued a policy agenda that prioritizes fiscal conservatism over social spending. The impact of these policies is being felt across Finnish society. One of the most significant consequences of austerity has been a sharp increase in living costs. Inflation has soared by 20% in the past 3 years, eroding the purchasing power of ordinary Finns. This has led to a decline in living standards, particularly for those on low incomes. Essential goods and services such as food and housing have become increasingly unaffordable for many. The government's cuts to welfare programs have exacerbated the situation. Social safety nets, once a cornerstone of Finnish society, have been weakened. This has left many vulnerable citizens struggling to make ends meet. The impact is particularly acute for families with children, the elderly, and those with disabilities. These groups rely heavily on social support, which has been significantly reduced. The government's austerity measures have drawn criticism from opposition parties, labor unions, and civil society organizations. They argue that these policies are short-sighted and will have long-term negative consequences for Finnish society. They point to the growing inequality and social unrest as evidence of the damage being done. The government, however, maintains that its policies are necessary to address Finland's economic challenges and ensure long-term sustainability. Section 5, Housing Insecurity, a looming crisis under the weight of austerity. The housing crisis in Finland is a stark illustration of the human cost of austerity. The government's decision to reduce housing benefits has had a devastating impact on low-income families and individuals. Many are now facing the very real prospect of homelessness. The situation is particularly dire in major cities like Helsinki, where the cost of living is already high. The government's justification for cutting housing benefits is based on the need to reduce public spending. However, critics argue that these cuts are counterproductive. They point out that forcing people into homelessness will ultimately cost the state more in terms of providing emergency accommodation and support services. They argue that a more humane and effective approach would be to invest in affordable housing options. The housing crisis is having a ripple effect across Finnish society. Families are being torn apart as they are forced to move into overcrowded or substandard accommodation. The stress and uncertainty of housing insecurity are taking a toll on people's mental and physical health. The crisis is also exacerbating existing inequalities, disproportionately impacting marginalized communities. The government's response to the housing crisis has been widely criticized as inadequate. While some measures have been taken, such as increasing funding for homeless shelters, these are seen as mere band-aids that fail to address the root causes of the problem. Critics argue that a more comprehensive and long-term approach is needed, one that prioritizes the right to adequate housing for all. Section 6. A Glimmer of Hope, the potential for a red-green coalition in Finland's future. Despite the challenges posed by the current right-wing government, there is a glimmer of hope on the horizon. The Social Democratic Party, led by Antti Lindtman, is currently leading national opinion polls. The SDP, along with the Left Alliance and the Green League, represent a potential alternative to the ruling coalition. A red-green coalition could usher in a new era of progressive politics in Finland. The SDP has signaled its intention to reverse many of the austerity measures implemented by the current government. They have pledged to increase social spending, invest in public services, and address the housing crisis. The Left Alliance and the Green League have also outlined ambitious plans to tackle climate change, promote social justice, and create a more equitable society. A red-green coalition would face significant challenges, including the need to navigate a complex political landscape and address the concerns of a divided electorate. However, the potential rewards are high. A progressive government could set Finland on a path towards a more just, sustainable, and equitable future. The outcome of the next Finnish general election remains uncertain. However, the possibility of a red-green coalition offers hope for those seeking a more progressive and compassionate approach to governance. The success of such a coalition would depend on their ability to translate their shared vision into concrete policies that benefit all Finns. Section 7. Youth Engagement, International Issues, and the Left's Resonance with a New Generation. Young people in Finland are increasingly engaged in politics, driven by concerns about issues such as climate change, social justice, and international conflicts. The Left Alliance, with its progressive stance on these issues, has resonated with many young voters. The party's vocal opposition to the war in Gaza and its call for sanctions against Israel, while controversial, have struck a chord with a generation that is deeply troubled by injustice and human rights abuses. The Left Alliance's focus on international solidarity and its willingness to challenge traditional foreign policy orthodoxies have made it an attractive option for young voters who are disillusioned with the status quo. The party's commitment to peace and disarmament, its criticism of militarism, and its support for multilateralism align with the values of many young people. The Left Alliance's appeal to young voters is not limited to its stance on international issues. The party's focus on social justice, economic equality, and environmental protection also resonates with a generation that is acutely aware of the challenges facing the world today. Young people are looking for solutions to the climate crisis, the housing crisis, and the growing gap between rich and poor. The Left Alliance's ability to mobilize young voters will be crucial to its success in future elections. The party has made significant inroads among this demographic, but it must continue to engage young people and address their concerns. The future of Finnish politics will be shaped by the values and priorities of the next generation. Section 8. Navigating NATO. Membership, the Left Alliance's divided stance, and Finland's security concerns. Finland's recent accession to NATO has been a divisive issue in Finnish politics. The Left Alliance, reflecting the diversity of views within its ranks, allowed a free vote on the matter. While some party members supported joining NATO, citing concerns about Russia's aggression in Ukraine, others opposed it, arguing that it would undermine Finland's long-standing policy of neutrality and potentially escalate tensions in the region. The Left Alliance's divided stance on NATO membership reflects the complexity of the issue. Finland's security concerns are legitimate, particularly in light of Russia's actions. However, joining a military alliance carries its own risks and challenges. The Left Alliance must navigate these competing perspectives while remaining true to its core values of peace, diplomacy, and international cooperation. Despite its internal divisions on NATO, the Left Alliance remains united in its opposition to nuclear weapons. The party has called for Finland to maintain its strong stance against nuclear proliferation and to advocate for nuclear disarmament within NATO. The Left Alliance's challenge is to articulate a clear and coherent security policy that addresses Finland's legitimate security concerns while upholding its commitment to peace and international law. The party must engage in a constructive dialogue with all stakeholders to find a path forward that ensures Finland's security without jeopardizing its values. Section 9. A Personal Perspective: Life in Finland Under the Shadow of Austerity. Mike Watson, a British expat living in Oulu, Finland, provides a personal account of the challenges of daily life under the current right-wing government. He arrived in Finland a decade ago, drawn by the country's reputation for its strong social safety net and high quality of life. However, in recent years he has witnessed a marked deterioration in public services and a growing sense of anxiety among ordinary Finns. "I've always admired Finland's commitment to social welfare," says Watson, "but the cuts to healthcare and education are having a real impact. Waiting times for appointments are longer, and the quality of care has declined. My neighbors, many of whom are elderly, are struggling to make ends meet on their pensions." The rising cost of living is another concern for Watson. "Food prices have skyrocketed," he says. "It's getting harder and harder for families to put food on the table. I've noticed more and more people relying on food banks, which is heartbreaking to see in a country as wealthy as Finland." Despite the challenges, Watson remains optimistic about Finland's future. "I still believe in the Finnish model," he says. "I hope that the next election will bring about a change in government and a return to the values of social justice and equality that Finland is known for." Watson's story is just one of many. It highlights the human impact of austerity measures. While the government may argue that these policies are necessary for economic growth, the reality on the ground is that they are causing hardship and uncertainty for many ordinary Finns.